Welcome to Bamcast, the Black Art Matters podcast, featuring Darius Colquitt.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, ladies, and gentle thems, wherever you are out there in the digital universe. We are so happy to have you here to chill with us for this great interview because, you're about to meet one of the dopest people that I know. I met the person you're about to meet, was it this year? Was it earlier this year? But I knew of you before that.
This been a long ass year. Yeah, it was this year. Damn.
But that's proof that when you're supposed to know somebody, when somebody is family, it's immediate. So even though it was just this year, it feels like a lifetime. And honestly, it's been nothing but joy all the way through it. So I am so proud to introduce all of you to my friend, Jazz Mckinney. Jazz, thank you for joining us on BAM Digital. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Of course. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. It's a little cold outside, but that's just more time to cuddle, I guess.
Yeah. I know this.
Whether with yourself or a blanket, a stuffy, a person, I don't care. Just cuddle.
Cuddle. That is the message of the day. Cuddle.
Yep. And we're done. All right. Have a good day, y'all. Nice to meet you.
Oh my God. I love it. No, but I am, again, so happy I get to talk to you, but just because I know a little bit, but I don't know far as much as I thought, because we just discovered it's only been this year that we've gotten acquainted. And it don't even feel that way. It's weird. So first things first, I know that you aren't an artist and this is like an artistic platform per se, but I feel like anybody who works with people, anybody who works, especially in the nonprofit sector, you're having to create. That is your bread and butter, creation. So I feel like it's important that anybody that works in the world that we work in is seen, especially us, folks of color that don't necessarily get seen, but are doing the work. Us. For real, us. Yeah. Us who built us, if you will.
That's right.
If somebody was to walk up to you, let's say a 5-year-old child, and they asked you, what do you do? Who is Jazz? What would you say to that individual?
I mean, it depends on the day how I respond to that, but I do a lot, actually. But if I were to give my spiel, I help save lives, honestly. That's my goal. So I guess my official title in there is my day job is I am the executive director of the Grand Rapids Pride Center. We are one of West Michigan's local, specifically Grand Rapids, local LGBTQ resource centers, community center, a hotspot, safe space, whatever you want to call it. So I help run an amazing team that truly wants to make a difference in the world and truly wants to see us not just be here, but thrive. Like we need to experience joy. We need to experience love, heartache, pain, all of that. And we need to do it in community so that when we do experience some of the more negative things, we have somebody that we can fall back on. That's my day job. And that entails a lot of different things. That entails making sure others become more safe. So I do a lot of education. My background is actually in education. My actual degree is also in therapy and counseling. So I have a mental health background. Yeah, I know. There's a lot. I don't talk about it because it is just what it is.
That's what's funny, because everybody I've been meeting along this journey, we are so multi-hyphenate that you meet a person in one circumstance, and that's how you know that person. But you have no clue the multitude of different things that make that person who they are in front of you.
Yeah, no, I'm a therapist by trade. I love it. Sometimes my staff doesn't love it because they can't hide from me, but they get used to it.
I mean, that becomes, I would think, a secret power being an executive director. You are tapped in way further than anybody else can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, yeah. So that's my day job. My everyday job, I'm a parent. I have 4 kids, a wide range of kids. So they are 25, just turned 18, just turned 9, just turned 2.
What?
So, yep.
I did not know you had a 25.
Yep. He still lives with me. Can't get rid of him.
My mom actually was talking to me about this. She was like, I remember back when families didn't even separate. We just all lived together because we knew how to support each other. And
I mean, my mom lives with me too. So, I mean, yeah, I don't believe in that kicking kids out of 18 and,
right.
seeing them fail just because they reach some magical number. He gonna be there for a minute, trust me. Now, when he say he ready to go, trust me, I will help pack. But
I had these bags ready for a while.
Right. Oh, ready? Yeah, let's go. I was just waiting on you to get a word.
All right. I know you say that your job entails a lot, being an advocate, honestly making yourself available as often as possible. What do you do in order to keep yourself together in the course of keeping everybody together? How does Jazz take care of Jazz?
Jazz has a lovely spouse for that. But I mean, obviously, I'm a big proponent of therapy. I definitely am a person who would never tell somebody to do something I wouldn't do. So I'm in therapy twice a month, and I don't let anything interfere with that. Mm-hmm. Hell, I think I went to the hospital once and still went to my therapy session. Hold on, doctors, I got shit to do. But I also just try to take time in the little things. Like, I love being with friends. I love hanging out. I love laughing, joking. I have a very serious job, but I try to always find some sort of laughter, humor, try to cut the tension with some humor or something, some care, hell, some tears. I'm a big proponent of tears because sometimes you gotta let it out.
Right.
And funny enough, I actually am an artist. We haven't talked about this one either, but
speak on it. Speak on it.
I have been playing percussion for 23 years.
Okay. All right. Now, again, I'm diving into stuff I don't know. So you're going to have to tell me about that. Where did that start? How did that come to be?
I started in high school. My family is musical. I have a lot of people in my family, anybody in the jazz world, not me jazz the music, the artists. There's a local artist, Galen Mckinney from Detroit, famous father, Harold Mckinney, famous jazz artist. A lot of talent in my family. I'm from Detroit, so like music just lives in me. My mom is a music producer, has like actual records and stuff out there, produced some artists out there. So I've just always been around music. It's hard not to, especially when you live in Motown. So Motown is my love. Jazz music and Motown is my love language. That'll get me any day. That's how I also chill out. I'm always listening to music, banging on stuff, beating on stuff. Can't help it. I'm a percussion. My mom got used to it eventually. That's why I got put in band too. You always banging on stuff. So yeah, I mean, I grew a love for it then, and I played just kind of casually now. I used to teach at a local high school here. I'm probably going to get back into it in 2024 because, again, speaking about doing something for me, I let it go to the wayside a little bit because things, but they've been begging me to come back to help teach their youth. So I might be doing that next year.
That is so dope. Oh my God. I think things you don't know, things you just don't know. I love that. So, question then, how do you feel like your musical background or your family's history with music helped bring you to where you are now, where I'm trying to phrase it in a way that makes sense. Both areas that you're in, be them the nonprofit sector or music, are areas of service.
Mhm.
So, do you feel like your musical upbringing helped shape that other side of you or informs the way you serve people in the Pride Center now?
I mean, I couldn't tell you it was one or the other because they're so intertwined for me. And my music is based in service, always giving back. Like I said, teaching youth, don't do it for money. Um, have never really been paid to teach people. I've gotten like, oh, thanks, here's a gift card for Christmas type of paid, but not paid.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but I will say one thing though is it definitely that between music and being in band and being in things like that, and but also the background of being in therapy has definitely helped me to never freak out in a crisis.
Mm.
My band director in high school, we were nationally known, and he had very high standards. And I was the captain for 2 years, so I had even more standards that I had to adhere to. So he had a amazing way of shaping someone that, like, yes, it was the music, but he cared about you as a person, and I carry that as well. Of no matter what I'm doing, at the core, I care about people, and I care about people being able to be themselves, being able to be well, being able to, whatever that means to them. So I think it's just so infused. I couldn't even tell you if there was like one day that I was like, oh yeah, this is where I learned it.
Mm-hmm. But once you knew, you felt like, yeah, this is the trajectory. This is where I'm going. What even brought you to the presidency? How did you get to that point?
Well, um,
I mean, I can imagine probably a number of things because, I mean, shoot, life
I
takes us
used to
in
be on
directions.
the board, and even then, I wasn't a typical board member. I wasn't not talking about like my board, but I wasn't that board member that just sat on this throne upon high and dictated what the organization does. I was the board member that, when I said I wanted to volunteer for the organization, that's what I meant. So I got in here, I got to know people, I was talking with people, I was available, I got to know the ED very well. When they knew they could call on me, particularly if they had a crisis, they would call me, and I'm like, I don't even work there. And really, because of that, though, when this position came up, as well as I was one of the biggest proponents on the board at the time for making sure that we were being equitable across the board. And so, not just, I love to say the Pride Center in the past has served cis white men very well. We do that very well. We do our jobs very well. We have not done a great job in the past of serving everyone else. And so that's been my platform of when I was on the board, I was like, we got to do better. We got people, including myself, right? That like when I was growing up and when I moved to Grand Rapids, I didn't think the Pride Center was a place that I could go as a person of color. And I don't want people to feel that way because it absolutely is a place that people of color should go to, can go to. And if anything, maybe it's for them more because they have a lot more things that they have to get through in life than, other folks. And it's, of course, it's not that we don't want to serve our other constituents. We absolutely do. And that's still the majority of who we serve, and we serve them well. But I just remember thinking there's a local organization, I won't name them, but there's a local organization that works a lot with Black folks. And I would hear all the time how queer folks, Black queer folks, didn't feel like they could go there. And then being here at the Pride Center, I would hear from queer folks how it was not a place for them, right? So here I have this Black queer person that doesn't feel like they can go to the Black organization, and they also don't feel like they can go to the queer organization. So then they just don't go. And it just continues to perpetuate the cycle. And so that's really the platform. So when this job became available, they basically were just like, this is the direction we want to go. And you have been talking about this for years. You do it. And of course, at first I said no. I said no a lot, actually, because I was just like, you're not about to tokenize the hell out of me.
Right, there's always that fear when they come up to you, especially within everything that's been happening like recently. It's like, okay, I see where you are.
Yeah, well, because that's when I took over, was 2020. So George Floyd, Sandra Bland, all of that was so forefront that then they're just like, yeah, Jazz, you do it. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. But as we were able to talk, and as I was like, okay, well, if you want me to do this, here's my standards, here's what I need, here's what I want, which took a lot for me to say, because of course, as a person of color, we're taught not to do that.
Right.
But I was like, it was ironic because at the time I was unemployed. I was getting that good, remember 2020 unemployment? I wasn't trying to go nowhere. I was sitting on my happy little couch getting paid, okay? I was like, listen, if you want me to come off my couch and put on some real clothes, I got things that I need. And the biggest thing, honestly, because I mentioned I'm a parent, the biggest thing was my kids have to come to work with me if I need them to, because I can't afford babysitting.
Yeah.
And as a person of color, my kids go with me everywhere. I mean, not that other people don't do it, of course, but that's in our nature. Naturally, we're not supposed to be away from our kids until at least 2 years old. And even then. So I bring my 2-year-old to work with me every single day. Because I told him, you want me to get off my couch? I got baggage. Cute baggage, but baggage.
Yeah, some of the cutest baggage that runs through the rats, and I swear.
All the time.
Okay, so you became president in 2020, like just in the midst of all of the insanity.
And it was insane.
How difficult was it shifting the atmosphere from then to now?
How difficult wasn't it? Because it wasn't even just a culture shift. It was also that this organization was in dire straits at the time. A lot of people don't know, and I can say it now because we're nowhere close to it, but a lot of people don't know we literally almost closed our doors in 2020 because we lost it. At the time, our local Pride Festival was 90% of our budget. And because of 2020, we had to cancel it. So we lost 90% of our budget. And so that's the organization I was handed. I was handed an organization with no money, no staff, barely a structure in place. And the previous ED, he kept it going with some duct tape and some WD-40 because that's about all he could afford. But that's what I got. And it almost was a blessing in disguise, though, because then I literally could bring this organization from the brink of death to make it the organization it needed to be. And of course, there were distractors. Of course, there was people who hate it. There's people, even now, who still can't stand. I've been called all sorts of names in the book, even by our community. I've been called homophobic. I've been called transphobic. A white man called me homophobic because I said we needed to serve other people. And I said that, first of all, sir, I'm a Webster dictionary because that's not what homophobic means, but okay.
Wow.
But yeah, I've been called all sorts of names in the book by our community. I've actually gotten better reception from allies.
I find that absolutely amazing because in comparison to BAM, our organization here, it's kind of the same vibe. A lot of the people that you would expect, especially the folks that you're serving, you would expect that they would be showing up more often, but the allies or the folks that don't necessarily fit the mission, if you will, they're the ones that appear to be showing up. And I guess my question from ED to ED right now, how do we shift that narrative. I guess that's something you've been struggling deal with too.
Hmm. I mean, my biggest thing is I'm gonna be me no matter what,
Right.
because I know who I am. I know I'm not homophobic, transphobic, any of those things. You may not like the direction I'm taking it, and I'm willing to have that conversation. I'm willing to always have conversations and that sort of thing. But this is what our community needs, and this is what I'm hearing from those people that don't necessarily have a voice. And
Right.
so, you know, it is hard though, because it's almost disheartening because you're like, but I'm doing this for you. This is- I'm doing this so you can have a space.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, I have to stand in my truth and stand in what I believe to be right. And I try to make sure that what I believe to be right is based in facts and research and communication and conversations with community, not just the allies. Don't, never mind, let me not say that. But anyways, not just the allies, and the response that I have gotten from the community that did not think this was a place for them is what keeps me going, because those are the people that are starting to slowly creep over the, like Mr. Wilson, they
Right,
creeping
right. They're
a
behind.
little bit over the fence and peeking over here. Those are the people that I'm really trying to make sure feels valued. I and at the end of the day, I got to remember that I can't please everybody.
Hmm.
And it's part of the
Yeah.
reason I don't believe in competition. As an organization, there's other LGBT organizations out there. I don't believe in competition. I'm not competitive with, I'm competitive in sports, but I'm not competitive with an organization where our goal is to save people's lives. I don't feel
Yeah.
like we should be competing. I feel like we should be collaborating, and we should be
Yes.
making sure that we're sharing resources and that we are sharing, because everybody can't do everything. I'm not trying to be the organization that does everything. I need
Absolutely.
those other LGBT organizations to step up and do some more stuff, because I can't do everything.
Hmm.
But
You
same thing
you
with
can't be a monolith.
collaboration. No, and I'm not trying to be. I ain't got time for that. But at the same
Absolutely.
time, I'm trying to also work with other organizations, say like that organization that works specifically with Black folks. I'm trying to work with them to say, you serve queer folks in your organization. Yes, you're Black, you know how to serve Black people, but you're not doing a great job serving queer people. Let's work together, because my
Right.
organization in the past hasn't done a great job serving Black people. Let's help each other out.
Right. Exactly. If you have a strength and I have a strength, then it makes sense to figure out how we can weave them together to build ourselves stronger together. Like that. That's the
Exactly.
only way we get by as people. But we
Exactly.
lost sight of that. So
Yes.
it's
But
very
we
hard.
have, as a culture, as a city, as a country, we've lost sight of that. Everything is so divisive right now.
How do what is your number one way of fighting that division just within your space right now?
Continuing to have conversations and continuing to let folks know this is what our community wants, this is what our community needs, this is where we should be putting our money towards. Um,
Yes.
and education is key to a lot of that, because I don't believe that every single person out there who is maybe anti whatever is anti because they just hate people. I think a lot of people are anti because there's so much misinformation out there in the world, and depending on how you get your information, you just don't know. And so the more we educate, the more we have conversations, the more we clarify or whatever it is, the more we can help people to be in the know, and then they can make their own decision. If they still choose to be anti, okay, but at least now you know.
Right. Precisely. What's something that at this moment in the position you're in, that when you think back to younger you or somebody who is younger than you who may need that guidance, what is something that you feel needs to be said or that you would say to that individual right now?
I think younger me for sure would just be like, it's okay, you're doing the right thing. and you are exactly who you need to be in that moment. And our best is our best in that moment, and it does not look the same any day of the week. Your best today may be just getting up and putting on some pants. Your best tomorrow may be saving the world. Okay, I'll take both.
That makes me think about, oh Jesus, you unlocked like a core memory. Made me think about my 7th grade teacher. She would always say, "Only your best is good enough." Like that was her catchphrase. It no matter if it's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. Did you do your best today?
Mm-hmm. And I think understanding that people are wonderful makeups of duplicities and multiplicities, right? And being able to accept all of that, you ain't gotta like it sometimes, but being able to accept that, right? I don't like when I get depression, but I know I have it.
Right.
Right? Like, okay, and I have to accept that and I have to roll with the punches and be able to just be like, okay, yep, I woke up today in a effed up mood. All right, cool. So today I'm not getting up and saving the world. Today I might only be able to get up and take a shower. Today I might be able to slam a whole pizza today. F it. It's just
Day by day,
now,
moment by
of
moment.
course, hopefully I'm not doing that every day, but you know.
You slamming a
every night,
pizza every
yeah.
day like that, you ain't gonna have many more healthy days. Just saying.
Exactly. Yeah. But we just have to understand and stop comparing, right? Like
Yes.
my best day may be totally different than someone else's best day. And we don't have to compare. We don't have to, like, I don't want to look at somebody and be like, well, they got out of bed today. What's wrong with me? You couldn't do it. And I think
And that's okay.
that's hard. And that's okay. Right. And I think for me, even as ED, I have to think about that sometimes too, of like, that person over there running the organization was able to do X, Y, and Z. What about me? What y'all doing? But
Right.
I mean, that also come with a lot of EDs get more money than me, but
Hey, but we all fighting the same battle to make sure that we can serve people well. And honestly, that's why I'm so glad that I've been able to connect with you and with the Pride Center and just work with y'all on some of the programming you've put together, from QT Pop the Block all the way to Trans Day of Remembrance, all of the things that you've worked on, not just as the Pride Center, but in collaboration with organizations. Like you are changing the landscape. Don't think that it's going unnoticed. You're doing the work, and we see it, and we love you for it. I need you to hear that.
yeah,
I know
I
it's
appreciate that. It's hard, right? Because in my mind, I'm just doing what we should have been doing all the time anyway.
Exactly. But the thing we also have to remember, and it's something I keep hearing that keeps coming back to me, is that we can't expect ourselves out of other people.
You
Like
know
what?
what? We're gonna copyright that one. Cause
Look, as much as I keep hearing it, it's like, yep. As much as I want to believe that you have the same set of ideals that I do, I can't walk in the door with that belief. Can't do
but
it.
when we do, we gotta hold on to those people, because I got a great group of folks that I know that I can rely on or talk to or rant or whatever, right? Because especially as ED, because it's being ED, a lot of people don't realize being ED is actually a very lonely position. It's people say it's lonely at the top. I was always like, whatever, y'all be all right. Nah, it's lonely at the top.
It's lonely.
And so being able to even have a core group of ED friends that understand that at the end of the day, what one experiences, because it's hard. My staff is amazing and they're great, and I don't believe in hierarchy. So like my staff will check me in a hot second too. If I need to be checked, cool, do that.
Right.
But they still don't get it completely being ED.
It's a weight that you have to carry all the time. Whereas with them just being staff, sometimes it's just a weight they have to carry when they're in the building
Mm-hmm.
or when they're at the event. So
Yep.
yeah, it's a whole different landscape, and
Yeah.
it's thankless work sometimes, and
Sometimes.
the majority of the time. But
Yeah. I mean, it is
but
hard, right? Because like
yeah,
people in our community, we have this notion, right? Literally, it's in my job description. You are the face of the organization, right? And it's like, yeah, but people don't understand what comes with that. I don't get to be Jazz, the percussionist, right? The musician, the parent, the whatever, right? Like when I see people on the streets, a lot of times they relate it back to the Pride Center. And it's no, why can't I? Like, and so I also have to be careful sometimes because there are things that as ED we also have to abide by. Like, for instance, as a nonprofit, we're not allowed to be bipartisan.
right.
And I may say something about maybe a particular candidate, and it's like, oh, the Pride Center. No, 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 no. Not the Pride Center. The Pride Center cannot make a stand on certain things, but so like literally we are taught to even say, hey, if I'm going to say something like, oh, if I'm going to say, oh, I don't like this candidate, I have to say like, oh, this is my personal opinion, not the Pride
Right.
Center's.
Right. There's a whole extra byline you got to add to each statement you write.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's the part too that I still that's like, don't get me wrong, I love my job and I love what I do, but like that's definitely one of the downsides, I guess, of like it could definitely be a very positive thing to be the face of an organization sometimes and can use that for good a lot of times, but there are times that I'm just like, I just want to go to a grocery store in my pajamas with Mitch Met socks on and not run into somebody that's like, oh, look, like
In many ways, it does, especially us being in GR and it being the size it is, it does feel like, big fish, small pond, TMZ catching you in the worst possible position sometimes. And it's a weird dynamic.
It really is, because I don't want to be like, not that I know what like celebrities feel like, but also I'm like, it do feel like that sometimes.
But
I feel like around the corner is a paparazzi just waiting to catch me digging in my nose or something.
It's like, it's nice that you know me, but please don't know me. It's
yeah,
I'm good.
exactly. Can you know me tomorrow at 9:00, please? Not right now.
So now comes to my favorite part of the interview. We're gonna dive into this real quick. I love these last set of questions because I feel like everything else was about, the stuff, all of the mask, all of the, hey, here's the platform, but this is the human. These are the connecting questions. So I'm gonna ask you these. They're rapid fire. First response you give. Here we go. What is your favorite word?
Love. As gay as that is.
Let it be.
I love
Let
it though.
be.
I love, like I'm such a lovable person and a loving, caring person that's how I try to carry myself no matter what I do. That's my favorite word.
What is your least favorite word?
No.
I swear, when this is done, I'm doing a compilation video of how many people said the word no was their least favorite.
But I mean, for me, it's hilarious though, because like, particularly as a parent and with a 2-year-old, I'm just hearing that all day, every day right now. So that's what I think of sometimes too. But like, yes, when I, as somebody who just wants people to do better, when I am told no, essentially, if I'm applying for a grant that I'm just like, I need this to help people live better, and they say no, that has consequences.
Right. That affects lives.
Yeah. Like never mind. I was just gonna say, I asked for a grant for some housing support. ... We'll just leave it at that.
I'll leave it at that.
Mhm.
What feeds you?
Love, but I think friendship for sure. My love language is definitely physical touch. Like I love hugs, fist bumps, high fives, right? I had to pivot a little bit in 2020, but somebody was like, "Can I have a hug?" But my love language is definitely physical touch. And so like friendships and hanging out and no expectations. Like I'm not the friend that's just like, okay, we got to go to this big wig restaurant and hey, dress up and no, let's hang out on my couch in pajamas and watch fucking Lion King. That to me is a perfect idea of a date.
Yes. Yes, agreed. And
And going back to the top, cuddling.
don't forget the cuddles. Cuddles. Okay, so of course, gotta ask the opposite. What drains you?
I mean, the obvious answer is energy vampires.
Yeah.
But to go deeper into that, people who are selfish and not selfish in a good way. I do believe in selfish in a good way. Sometimes you got to be selfish, right? If
Yeah,
you know
it
that
can be healthy to be selfish.
yeah, it can be healthy to be selfish sometimes, but selfish people just for the sake of being selfish, oof.
What sound or noise do you love?
Sound of a drum. Oh, but particularly a djembe drum. It's one of my favorites. If y'all know what that is, universe, go look it up.
Google exists, children. It does.
Yeah, DJAMBE.
You even got to spell it. I'm gonna put the letters up there. We're gonna treat this like Sesame Street.
Yeah.
They're gonna spell a new word. What sound or noise do you hate?
No.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Actually, yeah, that one.
Look, I love it. Yes, absolutely. Best sound or worst sound in the world. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? I feel like I know the answer, but
Oh man. It's kind of funny because whenever I'm having a bad day, me and my spouse kind of joke that we want to become professional house spouses. And so we joke because we're like, well, if you gonna be a house spouse, I can't be a house spouse. So like, what? Somebody gotta work. But honestly, right now with the spirit that I'm in, I really do want to get back into music, like playing music, teaching music. If I could do that all day, every day, if I could, like being able to play, being able to teach people, being able to see that love and create that love in next generations. As a also Native person, like I'm a big believer in the 7 generations principle. So like I want to be able to spread love, but also music and the love of music, so that it continues for generations.
Love that. Love that. What profession would you, under no circumstances, ever do ever?
Politicians. I don't know how to lie well. I don't know how to I don't know how to I can't do it. Every now and then people are like, oh man, Jazz, you're so charismatic. You should. And I'm like, I should not actually, because it's Especially because with politicians, people got to actually vote on you. No.
And I'm sorry, but you know, us neurospicy folks can't take that stuff well. You know,
No.
we can't deal with.
And then they're like, here's your script. You got to say, I'm not reading that.
Who wrote this? This don't even sound like me.
Who wrote this? I can't do it at all. I was talking with somebody the other day, and I'm a big believer in protest and, you know, using your voice and all of those things. But I was looking on the news the other day, and there were some folks protesting at somebody's house, and I was like, "Ooh, see, that ain't."
Oh,
that would be my line. See, I got too much blackness and nativeness in me for that. Like, don't you come to my house. Do not do it. Don't come to my house. Don't step on my lawn. Don't. We're going to be reading the news talking about some cops that showed up at Jazz's house.
Also, that's
not
a level
for the protesters, though, because I already didn't handle that. Sacred space. I can't do it.
Yeah, man. All right, Jazz McKinney, what is your favorite curse word?
Fuck. That might slip out my mouth every 5 words. So I'm surprised it hasn't. I'm surprised I was able to stop it and say F. I said F like 2-3 times during this interview, but
you did. I give you points for that one. I give you points.
Can ask my 9-year-old, why are you always saying that word? Because it feels right.
It feels right. It encapsulates this moment perfectly.
That word can be used in all different circumstances. You can have a happy fuck, a sad fuck, a mad fuck, an empathetic fuck, a
angry fuck.
An angry fuck. You can have a lot. It's so versatile.
You can give fucks. You cannot give fucks. You can have no fucks left to give.
Exactly. Man, it's the best word.
One of the best, if not the best, period.
Yeah, that should have been my answer for what word do I love? That one.
All right. Last one. If heaven exists, what is the first thing you would like God to say to you when you get to the gate?
You made it. Wasn't sure.
Lights, camera, action.
Yeah. Nah, God probably up there like, whew, I did that.
But I think it's definitely coming from a place of pride, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think it definitely
can't help it, because again, if we are created in an image of the Creator or whoever you out there believe in, then I think I'm doing it very well.
I damn sure agree.
Because the Creator definitely got a sense of humor, okay? Because
look, I've been saying that for years. If anybody can explain the platypus and tell me that that's not a joke. Right, exactly. That's all I'm saying. How you gonna be 3 animals in one? How you gonna do that? That's okay.
Mm-hmm. Or the T-Rex. Like, why gotta do that?
Why you that big with arms?
How you gonna be the most fearsome
animal
and you can't reach?
You can't grab nothing. You can't do nothing.
You can't do push-ups. You
can't play basketball, bro. Like, it's, man.
You can't sing if you're happy and you know it. You can't do nothing.
Because you ain't clapping them hands. You a damn sure not clapping. Oh, man. Jazz, thank you. Thank you, fam. I appreciate you coming by, just giving us a little bit of who you are, your story, and talking about the Pride Center, because people need to know that you are out here doing this work for the people. If there's anything else you want to share about resources or how people can reach you or find the Pride Center, now's the time. Here's your platform. Do that.
yeah, you can find us in the heart of Easttown, Grand Rapids, but also on our website, grpride.org. A lot of good information on the website. A lot of good ways to also reach us if you need it, have any questions, anything like that. Come support us, share our information, whatever. Wouldn't be a good idea if I didn't say donate. But we understand that you can't always donate financially, but also donate in time, energy, space, body. We'll take it.
Yes. Whatever y'all have, give. And that is my friend Jazz. Thank you, Jazz, again. And thank you, everyone, for joining us right here on BAM Digital, wherever you're watching this, be it on our YouTube, listening on our podcast, or wherever you are. We thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
This has been another episode of Bamcast, the Black Art Matters podcast, offered to you exclusively through BAM Digital, a subdivision of BAM Talent. To find out more, go to our website, www.bamtalent.org.